everybody.
Hello.
You got me?
Mhm.
Okay.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Juicy Talk with your host, Juicy, and my co host, Julius Hardy,
Hardy. Yes, it's in the
DJ
building.
Hardy in the
DJ.
building. And so
Yes,
we have a very special show for
we
you, and
do.
we're excited for you to be here with us today. Yes, yes, yes. So, first things first, before we get started,
Yes.
I want to play a clip for y'all, okay? Because it's a lot going
I
on.
know, right? That's crazy.
It's a lot going on. First of all, did you see the presidential debate?
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was nuts. It was
I
nuts.
had
It
the
was very
popcorn ready.
controversial. It was a lot of controversy
Yeah, I
around
know,
that.
right?
I ain't gonna get all into that,
Okay,
but
my bad.
it just was like no, it's cool. It was interesting. It was fun. I don't know if it changed my mind. I think that pretty much everybody whoever you were voting for previously, you still probably voting for. But
Yeah.
Delta Rose, no power down here in New Orleans. Hurricane passed at midnight.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
I'm glad you're doing okay. One of our viewers that we love on the show. Pray for New Orleans, pray for
Absolutely.
Mississippi.
Mississippi.
They were hit with a hurricane.
Mhm.
It's that season. If you're from New Orleans or you're from Mississippi, then you know
Our
that's
prayers are with you.
our prayers are with you. I know that's definitely
Yeah,
hard.
I
I
know.
hope that your power, comes back on soon. That's hard.
I know, right?
Um, but this is for you because you haven't probably been watching TV like that, because your power's out,
Right.
unfortunately. But it's a lot going on. So the debate
And
was
s-
a trip,
the other one is
but that ain't what everybody.
I
But that ain't what
know.
everybody
Woo.
talking about. I'm gonna play a clip. If
Uh,
y'all don't know, if y'all
you
haven't
gonna spill the
heard,
tea? You gonna
I'm
spill the
I'm about to spill the
tea?
tea.
Oh.
If you
Okay.
ain't been on
I
TikTok,
know. It's been
because it's
crazy.
been everywhere. Everybody's talking about Shannon
Sharp.
Sharp. Yes. Thank you for being in the car listening. We appreciate you so greatly. Delta Roots, thank you so very much.
Would you go ahead and
So
play that clip?
I'm about to play this game. Oh, he's
Woo.
so thirsty for me to play it. Dang, dang.
People probably ain't heard it yet, though.
So for the people who haven't, I took this from somebody's TikTok page. But it's the audio, it's really just audio, but it's audio of Shannon Sharp. And I'm gonna just let y'all listen.
Yeah, you gotta hear this.
Don't run from me. Do not fucking run from me. You already knew the type of nigga I am before you got here. Yes, don't play. Relax them legs and submit the fuck to me. Did you ever fucking do that? Yes, sir. I know what I'm doing.
She said, "Yes, sir." So that's just the short version of it. It's a longer
I know, right?
clip where you can tell, like Hardy over here talking about that sound like a dude.
Dude, like yes,
Um,
sir.
but I think
That
that
voice sound a little raspy to me.
she was out of breath.
Oh, that what it was?
She might have been.
I also
She
like
was
that
going. They
when
was on Pound Town.
I also
I
like that.
think it was staged too, Delta Rose. I definitely think it was staged. I definitely think it was staged. So that's what's going on. Shannon Sharp got like this whole, and I think he really did that because, people been questioning his sexuality because of
Oh,
his clothing choices, I would say. So I think that that's why he put that out there. But man,
I know that was a hot mess, right?
he was trying to, I agree with you, Mimosa. What's up, Mimosa? Jamila Jones in the
Hey,
building.
Miss Jones.
Hey, Miss Jones. Yes, so I definitely think it was about his manhood for show. What's up, Richie? Yeah, he definitely got his big freak on.
Okay.
He definitely did. It was hilarious to me too. I found it to be very funny. But a lot of people was like, that sounded like a man, but that's just the short
I
version.
told
On the
you.
longer
I'm
version, you
telling
can
you.
hear she's real loud too. So
Some loud
yeah,
ass
I
men
think, but
too.
I definitely think it was staged. Ain't nobody doing all of that. I know his DMs is flooded right
I know, right?
now. I bet people lined up to get on this show too. Okay. He was like, you know what type of man I am. Don't you ever run from me.
I
That
know,
was
right? Where's she going?
man. Oh my gosh. That was
Versus Cat
hilarious.
Williams now it's this, right?
Man, I can't. I can't with it. It's nuts to me.
I bet it was that. You gotta choose your words.
You're right. You
gotta use your words.
literally, it
Right.
was nuts.
Except for that bad boy. Balls use all.
He said, my guy said, submit to me.
Right.
I know that's right. That's funny as all get out. He sure did.
Man.
That was crazy. It's just that's been going everywhere. Everybody's been talking about Shannon Sharp and his little video. But what I think is crazy is he ain't even tripping on it. Like most people wouldn't even then turn around, get on an interview, and then talk about it. Well,
Right.
I ain't know I was live on IG. That's what make it sound like I don't even believe that. They probably was in there clapping hands. He's running like, yeah. I don't believe none of that.
That's what it sound like?
I can't. That's what it sounded like to me.
Man.
That's what it sounded like to me. I don't know. I thought it was funny as all get out though. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. He was doing this thug thizzle. So, Hardy.
Yes.
So back to the topic at hand.
Yes.
We're about to talk about a more serious issue after being silly.
I know, right?
But I had to talk about that though. I had to
know.
get that out the way. Yeah. But so today we are doing a show on my friend, my homie Hardy. So we are talking about, and what are we talking about, Hardy?
Adoption. I was adopted at 6
Okay.
years old.
Okay.
What do you want to know? No, it's good.
So crazy. He's talking about, I told him, I was like, do you want me to interview you or do you want to just talk off the cuff? I'm just going to talk off the cuff.
Okay.
So, but I can interview you.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll do that.
So we can do that. So basically what we're talking about today.
You work with kids, right?
I do work with kids. So anybody that know me know that I have a background of working with kids. I worked, with, an agency that will remain nameless, but I worked there for a very long time. If you know me, you know where I was at. OG Hardy in the building. OG DJ. Don't pump his head up, Richie. Don't. Please don't. It's barely fitting in this little box.
You got me in this little ass room.
His head, okay, is already big enough. So,
what's up, G?
What's up? So, basically, let's talk about. You said you were 6 years old when you were adopted.
Yes.
If you don't mind sharing, what were the circumstances around your adoption?
Basically, my mom was 25. She had a aneurysm, and I was the youngest boy. I also have a younger sister. So one of the process was one of the family members couldn't take us. It was a temporary fix, but she couldn't take. It was me, my sister, and my brother. So she couldn't take all three of us. So we went through the system.
Okay. So were you in foster care first?
Yes. So
and how long were you in foster care?
Not that long, maybe about a year and a half.
Okay.
So and that's where I met my adopted parents.
So when you were in foster care, were you placed originally with all three of your siblings?
My brother. Me and my brother was.
Okay.
So we stayed together for about almost a year and a half, and then the family that I stayed with previously took on the responsibility of me. My brother went somewhere else, and it's kind of weird how we all kind of got back together. I'm gonna go into that, how God works and how God doesn't make any mistakes. How we all kind of came back together. We all connected. So I the family that I with, or I consider it, were the Edwards. Um, they both were. My father was educated with the Ball State. My mom, she went to school part time. Then I have my aunt. She went to Youngstown, but I don't think she finished. But I know she didn't finish. But she's real popular here.
Mhm.
And I think how it came about, she wanted a little,
A
little,
child.
yeah, a little boy, little
So they
nephew.
didn't have any kids when
Right,
they
correct.
adopted you.
Right,
Okay.
correct. So this is how I came about, and it was really nice. I could think about it just like it was like yesterday. How they welcome me into the home.
So tell me about that process. So how did you find out that you were going to be adopted?
I met with a social worker. I worked with his name was Mr. Lewis,
Okay.
and he was from the Department of
Children
Children
and Family
Services.
Services.
And they just talked about, hey, we found you a home, and do those visitations. I would sit down with him and just ask me questions how things were going. I also talked to my parents would be there through that process. So it was a nice process,
Your
and I've been
adoptive parents. When you say
yes,
parents, you mean your adoptive parents.
that is correct.
Okay.
And from there, uh, what else you want to know? Oh, the other thing is what I was going to
So
say.
how did it feel when, because both you and your brother both originally were placed
In
at the
different,
Edwards home, and how far
no,
apart in age?
I was the only one that went to the Edwards home. My
Okay.
brother went to another location,
Okay.
and my
Okay.
sister went to another location.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely sounds like a good
Yeah,
family.
it was good family.
So you were adopted by the Edwards family.
Mhm.
Your social worker set you down, told you were going to be adopted. Were you happy initially,
Absolutely,
or were
absolutely.
you up, or
Uh, I was very ecstatic about it because I knew that uh, I don't know. I just had this inner faith that God would never put me in a bad situation. I think luckily my sister, which is her name is Julia, I have a brother named Wiley. We
Mhm.
all got different families, but I've never heard of them being neglected or be abused or
Mhm.
anything like that. And again, I'm just kind of going to how me and my sister met. Me and my sister,
Your biological sister?
yes, yes,
How you linked back, how you got
correct.
back in contact. So before we go there, so when you were originally adopted, it was about 6 years old. How long was it before you reconnected with your family?
With my sisters, we went to the same elementary school.
Mhm.
So how it all went down was,
So you were adopted by the Edwards,
mhm, and she was adopted by another family.
and y'all both end up at the same
Same,
school.
right?
So how old were you around that time?
I want to say about 8 years old. About
Okay.
8 years old. Mhm.
Okay.
And I might have been a little bit older than that, about eight. I'll say about 8. So
Your
this
sister was older than you?
younger.
Younger than
We're,
you.
we're
Okay.
like at some point we're the same age,
Okay.
and then 2 weeks later, then I'm like 1 year older than her. So
Okay.
so anyway, me and my sister went to the same school. So this is how she used to go home and tell her mother, "Hey, mom, I saw that boy at school today." It's really crazy how like things work, how God works. Every day she would go home, mom, I saw that boy at school today. So one day her mother approaches me, and I said, "Are you a stranger?" Because my parents told me never talk to a stranger, and that's how that came about. And from that point, she gave me a piece of paper and told me to give my mom this piece of paper, and that's how me and my sister got connected.
So you got the other parent.
Mhm.
So she must have known who you were.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, when she saw her. So did your birth parents change your name?
No, that's my original name. I don't have my parents' adopted parents' last name. I have my own.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that's good. So
Hmm.
they allowed you to keep your same
Correct.
last name. So
Yes.
when your sister seen the name, did she
Mhm.
keep her name too?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Let's see, Julia kept. Yes. Yeah. Mhm. Now Wally he kept his last name too because he went to a different family too. So let me go back now with my brother. I have a brother named Wiley. We met. I was like maybe about 15 or 16, and I was a big softball player, and he played with a church, and I played with a church, and that's how I met my brother. playing softball.
Got
Yeah.
back in touch with your
Yeah.
brother. Did you know it was him when you saw him?
Yeah, yeah, it's just how it was. I remember I having a brother named Wiley, and I kept hearing that name. So
And
that's
you just asked him what his name
yeah.
was.
Mhm.
And then after that, were you able to see your siblings
Oh,
after that?
absolutely, absolutely. We all connected. To this day, I'm still close with my brother and my sister. Then I have some older brothers and sisters, which is Diane and Duck. There's someone else my mom had, and then had a brother. His name was Charles. He's a little bit older than Duck. And then I had two other sisters that lived out of state, and it's so I don't want to say crazy, but when I met them at a funeral, which is kind
Mm,
of sad. That was the,
wow.
yeah. So
Yeah, God's plan
mhm,
and will.
yeah,
That's true.
yeah, it
That's
was.
true.
Yeah, so.
So, did you have any? So, growing up, being adopted,
Mhm.
was there anything that you found to be difficult during that time?
You know
Like,
what? I can't really say because my father and my mom made a good setting. You know, they instilled some good morals and standards how things should be. I saw where my father got up and go to work every day. He wasn't really a drinker. My mom wasn't really a drinker. My father used to smoke a pipe, but but other than that, he went to work. Even when he retired, he went back to work part time. So
mm,
my father's always been a work. He's always been a great role model for me. Uh,
yeah,
my mom, uh, my mom is just my mom. She's implemented some things in my life that I can carry on throughout my life. So uh, my father always said, either you're gonna be working or in school. So that was how we used to do. So I decided to go to after I graduated from high school, which is Central Catholic. I went to school part time. Tri Season, I went to Cleveland State part time, and I got a couple of jobs. My first job was at a Brentwood Hospital, and I was 16, and so always been working. So the other thing we talk about this during the show sometimes. How I remember us sitting at the table during dinner
mhm,
time, how we discuss our day, or we sit in front of the TV as a family, as a unit. That made it so nice. So that's uh, I think that's where we need to get back to, where we can be a unit as a family. Even I know there's now things a little bit different, but I wish those days would come back.
yeah. I definitely, think that back in the day, growing up in that family structure, it kind of really shapes and molds who you are as a person and how you end up,
Mhm.
being in life and what you end up doing with your life. So, did your mom? You were the only child,
Yes. Hmm.
and your mom is still
Yeah, yeah.
living.
My mom just had her 90th birthday in May.
That's a
I
blessing.
lost my father back in about 7 years ago. So
Okay.
God rest his soul. Great man, great man. And some would I would I do it again? I think I would, but then again, I would like to maybe change some things. I really wish I could. Uh,
What would you change?
hmm. Um. Just how uh, spend more time with my mom, my biological mom.
Mhm.
That's what I would change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you ever go through a time period of, or did your family, your adoptive family, have answers for you regarding, like, did you ever ask questions about your biological mom?
A little
Because I
bit.
know you still keep in touch. Did you? Because you kept in touch with some of your family members. Is
Yes,
that
yeah.
correct?
My biological aunts. I talk to them a lot. I have a real favorite. I have one of my favorite cousins. Her name is Stephanie, and that's my road dog, Stephanie. She's a nurse practitioner, and um, it's I found it kind of odd, but no one had pictures of her, so
Mm,
I was a little bothered by that. But I mean, it is what it is. But I what can I do? There's nothing I can do about that, you know. But
mm.
mm,
I wonder if did she. So your mom was born and raised here in Cleveland.
yes,
Mm, okay. You probably. I wonder if you could find like a yearbook
yeah, I know. Finally,
or something like that, a class picture or a
yeah, I
yearbook
didn't think about that.
or something like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
during that time frame. If you could find out what school she
yeah.
went to, you
I
probably
was probably
could
like
find
East
that.
Tech. I think most of her family went to East Tech. They
Yeah.
all kind of grew up down the way. I don't want to say down the way, but is that down? Can I say that down
It
the way?
is down the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what we call
Like
it here in Cleveland.
like Scoville
Yeah, that's
and
down the way.
communication
Hmm.
community.
Community college.
Yeah,
It said, did they adopt any other kids? Or you the only child?
I was the only child.
Yep.
Yeah, my sister Julia and Wally went to another family. Yeah.
Okay, so someone wanted to ask, Woody asked, you have any kids and would you adopt any kids?
Woo, Woody, I don't have kids. When I was married, my ex-wife had a miscarriage, so that's the only chance I had of having a child. But I don't have any kids.
Would you consider adoption?
Not at this point. I'm 59 years old, and I don't think I would. But I have nieces and nephews, so I try to support them in ways that I could.
That's good.
Mhm.
Yes, that's awesome. So, someone said, "Oh, that was very sweet.
What's
Love
that?
you, speaking the truth," from Stacy.
Oh, okay.
And I adopted. Denise said, "I adopted two sisters. I adopted the first one when she was 1 week old, and then a year and a half later, I adopted her sister
Oh, nice.
at 2 months old. They are now 17 and a half and 15 and a half.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
I really, like I've worked with that demographic. She said her biological children are 46, 43, and 37. Wow.
Oh,
Denise, you should.
yeah.
We got a
That's
clap
awesome.
for you. I don't know which button it is, but
Oh, like that.
I know. But you still,
Yeah.
that was awesome. Yes. Yes, you are a great role model, Denise, and so are you, Hardy. So, growing up, how often did you spend time with your siblings?
Not a lot because, like I said, I was once I left Gracemount, my sister she went to Elliott, then I went to St. Henry's because I went to Catholic school for 6 years.
Hmm.
So I went to St. Henry's, then I went to Cleveland Central Catholic where I graduated from. But I know she graduated from Kennedy, and my brother he graduated from South High. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So very interesting. So lately there's been this show that they've been talking about lately, and there's been a little controversy around it. Was your adoption? I know that your mom had passed.
Mhm.
Did you ever have contact or know about your biological father?
Very little, very little. I got to be honest. I knew very little about my father. Very
Okay.
little. So I can't really speak on that. So I'm not gonna.
This is a good question. How did you deal with the grief after your biological mother passed?
Well, I just like I said, I was still young at that
Yeah.
age, so
You were
to
about 6 years
yeah,
old.
I was 6 years old, and my adopted parents kind of filled that void. I don't want
The
to say
void.
void, but they kind of really did because they loved me unconditionally. So
That's
yeah,
beautiful.
they did. So uh, I just thank them so much because it could have went so many different ways.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
It
yeah.
could have. And a lot of people, they don't have that story that you're
Mhm,
telling right now. Like, that's just not the story
mhm,
that you hear.
mhm.
So, someone else asked the question, would you recommend the adoptive family inform their adoptive children at an early age? Were you told that you were adopted? Well, you knew you were adopted
Yeah.
because you remembered your mom
Yes.
and you knew you had siblings.
Yes.
So, what about a child who was like adopted at 1 week old? Would you suggest that they are notified or told that they were adopted?
Yeah, I think they should. I think because because at some point you may not look like your parents. You're like, "Damn, I don't look like my mother. I don't look like my father or my sister or anything like that. So you kind of be kind of inquisitive, like why I don't look like that. And then you have to, hey, sit them down, and say, hey, look, this is what happened, and just be honest. You know, just be honest.
So, somebody else. It says, my girls came from a family whereas no one has their own kids. The generational curse stops after them.
Hmm.
Okay. So yeah, so someone asked that your biological family keep in touch.
Yeah.
And was your adoption considered a closed adoption, or was it it had to be was it an open adoption?
Yeah, it was. It was.
Okay.
Did you want to explain to them what the difference?
Yeah, well, you can explain
No,
it.
you tell them.
You know?
I'm not
Okay.
pushing.
So a closed adoption is when you don't communicate with any of your family from your past. So basically, all your family members that were previous, you have no contact with them at all. And an open adoption and your paperwork is sealed. That's another thing. Like it's not only you don't have contact with your family, but your paperwork is sealed. So they don't have access to find you. It's a lot of information that's not shared or given. But when it's an open adoption, you can, as the person being adopted, you can go find out information, you can get information, and sometimes you even still have communication with your biological family.
Okay, that's good information.
So someone asked, at what age should you tell your child that they are adopted?
I think at 6. I was 6 years old and I knew I was adopted, and you know, as soon as they have the comprehension level of, you know, I don't think I don't remember them telling me how she passed. I don't remember them. I just that I was no longer with my mom. They never said what happened to her, but I knew that.
So you didn't know that your mom had passed until you became older.
Yes, that is correct.
So you just thought she went away.
Well, I don't think some went away, but
like she was gone.
Right, yes, yeah.
And so first day, I don't know if you don't remember, but I'm just curious. First day, you get home from school because 6 years old, you probably was in school already. You get home from school, the police pick you up, your family pick you up.
Family pick me up.
Your family picks you up, and they take you to their house. And
along with the social worker.
It was the social worker. And they don't tell you anything about what's going on.
Kind of briefly. I mean, as a 6 years old, I probably wasn't kind of like understanding, but I just knew that I was going to a new home.
That's what we're gonna take you to a new home. That's what they told you.
Yes.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. And what do you remember, like your siblings being there with you at that time?
They were not. Well, the first time, like I said, me and my brother stayed together, and then we got separated. So, Miss White, hey.
Hey, just wanted to say hello to Julius, my friend.
Okay.
To the end.
Yes.
Your story is worth hearing. Okay. Absolutely.
Hey, Miss White.
Hey, that was Miss White, and that's Kim.
Yeah, Kim. And Sanya.
Yes.
Chimed in.
Yes.
I have some really, I have some really good friends.
That's awesome.
I really do.
You are a really good friend.
I mean, I really do. I just I just want to thank all my friends who's been, all my this
rocking
nice.
with you during our podcast.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, just in life.
Yeah,
I met some very nice people. Very nice people.
So, I want to ask you a question. So, it's been a lot of controversy going on, and a lot of people talking about. I think their names are Tyler and Carly, and they're from a show called Teen Mom. Okay, and they basically had a child. And at 16, they gave their child up for adoption.
Okay.
And they had to sign their rights away for their child. And part of them giving their as a 16-year-old, they had to make the decision of giving their child up for adoption. And so the controversy is around, they thought that they had an open adoption. Okay. And they did have an open adoption for the first 5 years. And then after that, it was determined to close. So they were allowed to see the kids for the first 5 years. Tyler and Kate, and the child is named Carly. So
thank you.
Thank you. So, do you think that, and so it's been a lot of controversy around first, do you think that a 16-year-old should is capable of making the decision to give up their child for adoption?
Hmm.
And it chime in out there if you watching in the chat
Hey,
and just
Wood.
chime in. Do you think that
Hey,
a
Lisa.
child at
Coco.
16 should can make the decision to give their child up for adoption? And is it legal, really legal? Because we don't even let people at 18, we don't let them drink at 16. You can't, I mean, I think it's so many things that you can't consent to at the age of 16. You need your parents' permission, you know, just to even be on car insurance. So my thing is, your parents is even responsible when you make bad decisions legally. You know,
Mhm.
they could be held liable.
I think at 16, it depends on the situation. Like, are you talking about this person?
I'm
She's
just saying
16.
in general, a 16-year-old gets pregnant, decides that they want to give their, I'm not talking about something with, you know,
Right. That's what I'm asking.
more tragic, but I'm
Mhm.
just saying like a 16-year-old gets pregnant and decides I'm too young to have a baby and I want to give my child up for adoption. Do you feel like that 6-year-old is capable of making such a decision? And also, is it legal? Is it legal for a 6-year-old to sign their rights away to their
Oh.
child?
Hmm.
Like, I'm
I,
just curious on what people think.
I don't think so. I mean, I think that's where the grandparents would come in at. Say, you know what? Uh, since you don't want to take care, we'll take care of the child.
And would we want grandparents to make that type of decision? Like, because that's a lifelong
Yeah,
decision
but
and a disrupt and a disconnect.
yeah, but I mean, I'm one of the lucky ones that went through the system that way, you
Mhm.
know. But sometimes you don't want kids in the system because sometimes the system is not always fair. Because I don't know if you've seen this where this white couple adopted these black kids and made them slaves and stuff like that. It was
I
crazy.
have heard of stuff
That
like
was
that happening.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just wonder how is um okay. I just wonder how that is legal because my thing is this.
Hey
I
Terry.
I agree with you that if you are going to allow, he said, yes, but it should be a law to allow adoption to be open if mother and father is under the age of 18. And I kind
Oh,
of agree with that too. Because you at 18, you might have had parent pressure, family pressure, that made you make this decision of giving up your child. And then as you mature, get older, have more kids, it's something that you never forget and you want to.
but what happens with that 16-year-old as they get older and say, you know what, I want my child back? How do you? I mean, how?
I
What do
was
you?
pressured by my parents.
Or
I think that they should at least have the right. It says people cause it crazy. It's legal. So, okay, Chastity made a point. She said if 16-year-olds can see a doctor without our permission and get emancipated, they can have some decision in this process too. So even
hmm.
if they make I like the idea that if you are 16 years old and you make the decision to give your child up for the adoption, even though I feel like at 16 years old, your parents have so much influence on you.
Hmm.
There's so many other things that have a lot of influence on you. My thing is, I definitely agree with what Bocat said, is that it should be open. Somebody said that's what grandparents do. We have to step up. I agree. So
Absolutely, yeah.
so basically in this situation,
Let's see. Let's see what he says.
they say that couple committed. He talking about the
Yeah.
children. Yeah, I remember that. So it was an adoption. If you guys don't know, we're talking about a story where it was two Caucasian women that adopted like
They wanted
four
a
or
couple, right?
five.
A man and
They
woman.
no,
It
well, it
was
was two. It's
okay.
been several, but
Okay.
yeah. So it's a lot of different opinions about, you know, somebody Edith stated, I feel like the child should go into foster care until the parents come of age to clearly make that decision.
Mm.
And I agree. You know, um, it would be nice, but that's like so in this particular situation, I think with Tyler and the little girl Carly, I think their parents were drug addicts or something and weren't capable
Mhm.
of taking care of the child. So Tyler and Kate, the parents, like I guess one of the parents that could have maybe taken the child
Mm.
was addicted to drugs.
Oh wow, so sad, so sad.
Yeah, I just know it was this story, and it was like all over news. It was two women, two Caucasian women. They adopted these children. They were of all different races,
Okay.
and basically, one of the kids, it was like some Hispanic kids, I think some black kids, and
People of color.
yeah, children of color. And so they adopted them. They were abusing the kids. And one of the kids went to school and kind of like whispered and kind of told the social worker what was going on. And they put them back in the home. The social worker, whoever, she kind of dropped the ball to a certain extent. And she put the kids back in the home. And another kid ended up going to school and complaining again, and I guess it was like a mark or a bruise or something.
Mhm.
And so they were coming to get the kids, and this couple put all the kids in the car and drove off the side of a cliff,
Wow. So
killed
this
everybody.
see, I didn't know about that one. I was just talking about the couple that had 4 kids, or I think it was 4 kids, and they were, you know, like treating them with slavery, not feeding
Putting them in
them, and
cages,
it's
and
crazy.
it's a lot of it. It's terrible that happens, but it does happen.
Mhm.
So Chastity said that's what grandparents should do. However, most aren't behaving like elders to make those decisions. And
Mm.
unfortunately, that's true. The other thing, a lot of grandparents, after they've raised their kids, if they struggled or had hard times, they do not want to raise their children's children.
Mhm.
Maybe they weren't the best parents and they definitely don't want to raise their children's kids. So, I mean, I think that happens quite often as well. And that's an issue as well.
What does Sonya say? Sonya says,
Sonya, if I can
go ahead.
make it go up,
Go
hold
ahead.
up. And that's it. What Sonya said is speaks on exactly what Chastity said. Not all grandparents want to step up and do that. They've raised their kids.
Hmm.
That's what I just said. They
Hmm.
raise their kids and they don't want to. Me personally, I probably couldn't do it.
Oh
I could
wow.
not. I could not let my grandkids go into foster care. And, like I worked in the foster care system. I've seen some of the horrific stories that have come. I've also seen very good, successful stories. So it's not all bad, but I just think that family is important, and a sense of family gives you a sense of identity.
Hmm.
And not all the time, that's able to happen, but when you're allowed to have that, and even like in your case, you still kept that sense of community, of family, you still connected to your siblings, your aunts, your biological aunts, it still gave you that sense of family. Whereas, some people don't get that opportunity, and and they want to have that opportunity, and it leaves them um, in a situation where they're devastated. It said, does anyone know if foster care is safe? Is it like jail? I guess, at one particular time, I think that foster care has changed a lot since
Back
back in the
then.
day when they had orphanages.
Oh
They
yeah.
don't have big orphanages anymore. They have like smaller group home type settings, but
Hmm.
that's not the practice that is ideal. Most of the time, they move to a home type situation where most foster parents are not in an institution or a big institution type situation, like
They're actually at homes.
a
Listed on homes.
orphanage. They're in single homes.
Mhm.
They're incorporated with other, with families and their children's, which is the ideal way that it's done now.
Do you want to go ahead and put in our call-in number just in case some people have some?
Yeah, I will in a second.
Okay.
I know that's how I feel. I'm raising mine too, Chastity. I couldn't do it.
Hey, Chastity. Thanks for
Nobody.
nobody.
Nobody will end up in foster care. I agree. I wouldn't want to see it. I've seen a lot of different things working in the agencies that I work in where people have made decisions to, put their kids in foster care to teach them a lesson or for whatever different reason. And it's just not saying that in some circumstances you can't help it, but there's so many different things that play out with that. Older kids don't get adopted as much. They don't, get that sense of permanency. Kids who have special needs or special issues or problems, they are not, most of the time people want babies. They want to adopt babies because, and that we even have issue sometimes where people adopt kids and then they give them back as when they get older and they're no longer cute and cuddly, which is really sad. It's really sad.
It amazes me how a kid could say to a parent, "I don't have to listen to you." I want to know where that come from. I don't have to listen to you. I don't understand that.
Yeah, you'll be surprised. I mean, it's a lot of kids that probably feel like they don't have to listen to their parents. Yeah. Biological kids.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's a different generation, now. Kids are very much opinionated.
I know. I would never say that to my parents.
Someone said, I wonder if a 16-year-old decides to put their child up for adoption, can their parents, grandparents block that adoption? That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that, but that is a good question.
But what about this? Let's say you didn't want to adopt the kids, but the boy's parents wanted to adopt the kid. Have you seen something like that before?
So I don't know, but I will say I do know this. In the state of Ohio, rights have to be, it's automatic. The mother is automatic
she trumps.
guardian.
Okay,
trumps so everything. In order for really a father has no rights unless he petition the court in the state of Ohio. Okay. You have to petition the courts for rights in the state of Ohio. You are not automatically given rights.
Miss White says.
Miss White said, I took my 15-year-old granddaughter son home with me because I was not going to let him be adopted. And 2 years later, he would go and be with his mother and grandmother. I just didn't want him to come around us when he reached 16 and then be like all these people sitting around here and nobody wanted me. Oh. I agree. Thank you. And it happens so many times.
Thanks for sharing, Miss White. Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Very, very true.
We used to work together at Warrensville.
Hi, Miss White.
That's what I'm saying. I have some good friends.
Good friends. So I am Googling, can a foster grandparent
I love my friends.
Block.
You're a good friend.
I am. You're a good friend too, Hardy.
Yeah, you are too.
And block adoption.
You have a lot of knowledge. That's what I really admire about you.
Thank you.
A lot of knowledge in you.
So it depends on the state. What I'm saying is it depends on the state. The court may be required to notify all grandparents of the grandchildren's pending adoption and may allow the grandparents to legally object. So, and it depends on the state that you're in. But that was a good question.
It was.
Very good question. Yeah, I think that, my thing is, I think that adoption is necessary. I don't think that it's something that we can negate in our community. But I do think that we need more foster parents. It's a great responsibility.
It can be
and it takes a very special person to take the time out to adopt a child. It takes somebody really, really especially after you've raised your own kids, it takes a special person to do that. You know, you get used to your freedom. Your kids are grown. You've done your job, and then you have to start over. But it just depends on, the person. Me personally, it, I would get my grandkids. It would be, hopefully, I raise my kids right. My grandmother used to always say, if you don't raise your kids, you'll be raising your grandkids. That's what she used to always
Sometimes
say.
people have to. So,
Someone said, Denise says they never knew who their fathers were. Over 15 men were tested, and none was the father of either child.
wow.
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 It's a lot of people that do it for a check.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of people. So somebody said, Delta Root said people foster kids for a check. And that's very true. But
Mm-hmm.
nowadays,
I
in
was gonna
order
say,
to be a foster parent, you have to have some type of income. You do. You even if it's like you have to have your own income or have the ability to take care of yourself. You can't just become a
sir.
foster parent to get a check anymore. Like back in the day, I don't know if that was the case, but nowadays you have to prove that you're self sufficient. They
Mm-hmm.
come in, they do a home study, they make sure your home is up to par, they make sure that you have space, they interview your family, your friends, your kids, they look at people's backgrounds. They really are trying to do a lot to stop kids being adopted or fostered by people who are not
Worthy of it
worthy of children. They really look to make sure that it's people who really want to adopt, care for, and love kids,
for the right reason.
and for the right reasons. And but sometimes you can do all of those things and still it ends up negatively. She said, people used to tell me you're going to be blessed for adopting the girls. I told them this is the blessing that I get to take care of them. And that's
That's
beautiful.
beautiful.
You have a beautiful heart, Miss Parker. And
I
your
know Miss
girls
Parker.
are and your girls are beautiful. Say yes, you can step in as my son did for his grandson and the other mother and his daughter. Listen to him. Thank God he is 9 years old and with his mother and happy. That's
Oh,
awesome.
yeah. See how that
That's
happens?
awesome.
Yeah.
And so, Miss White, can you explain that a little bit? So you stepped in. Say yes, you can step in. So did you step in
With,
and help with your grandson, and then he ended up being reunited with his mother? Is that what happened? I'm not really sure.
but they got reunited at some point. So,
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to understand if
hmm
that's what you were
I think so.
saying.
Yeah. That's how.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
It's awesome. So, if you want to call in, talk about your story, share some information, you can. There's a lot of different adoption agencies around the city of Cleveland. Of course, you can always sign up to be a foster parent through Children and Family Services. You can also go to places like Belfair,
Belfair.
Beachbrook, and you can, try to, go
Palmerdale.
through I don't.
Palmerdale.
Can you do foster parenting through
Through
Palmerdale?
Palmerdale?
I
I
don't know
don't
if
know.
you can anymore. I don't even know if Palmerdale is still
Oh,
open.
wow.
But I know that you
Those
can
are high
definitely go
risk kids,
through.
though. Those are high risk
Yeah, you
kids.
can definitely go through Belfair, and I know that you can go through Children and Family
Hmm.
Services. They both offer foster parent classes. You have to go through the classes. I think they're a couple weeks, and they do a background, and you can be on a list, and that's more of like a temporary thing. But some people like being foster parents because it's temporary, and they get to foster and help people
Hmm.
be reunited with their children, and help. And they end up, a lot of times, they end up being a part of the family still, even after the kids are reunified with the parent, just like a positive person. Yeah, Palmerdale is closed.
Okay.
Palmerdale is not
All right.
open
Thank you.
anymore.
I used to work there. That's why I asked
Yeah, but I know that because that was more like a group home
about it.
type place.
Hmm.
But I know that you can go to Belfair and I think Beachbrook, and I know
Yeah.
Children and Family Services are places that if you were interested in being a foster parent, you definitely can. There's you can call those numbers and I will put them on my page if you are interested in being a foster parent in the state of Ohio. I have that information. I think it's really important to, you know,
Yes.
give somebody else a home.
Mhm.
And it's a lot of time. Yeah, it was a treat. Palmerdale only has a treatment facility
Oh,
now.
okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I know that a lot of kids, we can't end this live without talking about the teenagers who end up in situations where they need a forever home too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's a demographic of, yep, Safi is another place that you can be a foster parent. So you are absolutely correct about the process. I'm the foster care recruiter for
Oh, okay.
Belfair,
Nice.
JCB. My primary job is to recruit foster parents like Hardy parents.
Oh,
Absolutely.
thank you.
So you can inbox Samikria Griffin
Hey, Miss
if you
Griffin.
are
Thank you for calling.
interested
Yeah.
in being a foster
Nice.
parent and signing up to be a foster parent, which I think is very important. And it's a lot of kids that are teenagers. I can't end this live without talking about the teenagers who are also still, even though they're older, are looking for permanency. They're
Mhm.
looking for a forever home.
Mhm.
Because one of the things that is really, really sad that I see a lot in the job function that I do now is you'll see kids who have aged out of foster care. They never had um, were
Reason.
they were never adopted.
Mhm.
They don't have, and so after they age out of foster care, a lot of times they don't keep those. The foster parents don't always keep connections with those foster children.
Wow.
And so now they go through their life and they don't, like, around holidays and Christmas, they don't have that sense of family. And it's
Mhm.
very disheartening not to have that. Everybody wants to have a family, you know?
Mhm. Everyone wants to be loved.
Everybody wants to be loved. It's in our innate
You know?
nature to
Right.
want to be loved. And and I think that a lot of times what happens is that we don't have that ability, to those kids are, teenagers are a demographic of kids that don't always get the permanency that they really
Mhm.
actually need when it comes to finding a forever home,
Yeah, forever. I
And
like that.
so
Forever home. I
a
like that.
forever home.
I
And
like
so
that.
I think that is something that we really should think about. If you are a single person, you've raised your kids, instead of getting a dog, maybe and still get a teenager, somebody that you can really speak life into, that you can really help. Here is some more information. If you are interested in becoming a foster or adoptive parent, you can call, and she left her number for
Oh,
you to
thank you so
call.
much.
That's so awesome.
Yeah,
Isn't that
yeah.
great? We
This
be
show,
connected. We be doing our thing, Artie.
man.
We helping the community.
This
That's what
show.
it's all about. It
Who
is.
knew though? Like it would
Yeah,
open up
I
like
did
a.
know.
You did.
Yeah.
Sorry.
See,
That's awesome.
I think someone said, Denise said, I know a lady who adopted two teenage brothers. They burn her house to the ground.
Oh.
Hey, it's some
Hey.
bad stories
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So that's why I said it takes a very special person to do that, to invite in a teenager into your home,
Right.
because they do come with a lot of emotional damage. Could you imagine being from home to home, not having permanency for
Hmm.
years, from 6 to 13? It's
Bounced around.
15,
Bounced
6
around.
to 18, because you may have ADHD, or you might be hyperactive, or whatever the situation may be, autistic, on the spectrum. It's so many different things. Have a disability,
Mhm.
have diabetes, have medical problems. Those are all the children that have a harder time
To
being
be placed.
adopted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and finding a placement. That's very true. So Elaine said, my son daughter had a baby at 15. We refused to let him be adopted. So this is my great grandson son. So at 59, I find myself with a newborn, and 2 years later, he will go and be with his mother and grandmother. And he spent a lot of time with me. We all love him so
Oh,
much. That's
awesome.
so
That's
beautiful.
beautiful.
It's why you're doing God's work for
Yes, yeah.
real.
Yes, she is.
Yes. Delta root males seem to have a harder time as well. That's very true,
I mean, think about
especially
that.
with being neglected by their parents. I know men who were adopted, it was more challenging for the male than females,
Mm.
especially with the emotional trauma. And that's another
Ooh,
thing.
that's a
That's a
good fact.
that's a whole show.
Yeah.
because there's a lot of controversy around people talking about, males and emotional trauma and males being more sensitive, but not allowed to share that, their emotions. We teach boys not
Be
to
tough. Yeah.
be tough, to don't cry, man up. And they really need to express themselves emotionally. And we're raising men who are emotionally detached because they have never been given an opportunity to share and be emotional. They're told that they're punks and they're suckers if they cry or if they have emotions, and that's not
that
cool.
comes from the parent.
It definitely is
It
coming
comes from
from the
parents
parents a lot
telling
of
them.
times because that's how they were
Right.
raised, but it is causing emotional trauma to our boys. We don't talk to our boys about their feelings or how they feel, or we tell them to shut up, don't you
Yeah.
cry, you bet not.
Woo.
All of that kind of stuff is crazy, but
Mm.
we should be teaching our male, and it's been studies that have been done, especially if you go through the foster parent classes, they talk about this, but a lot of times the males are very much more emotional. Like they did this study where, they took two babies, put them in a room. The mom didn't say anything, but she would, when took the mom out the room, the baby started crying, right? The mom came back in with the girl, just the mom's presence, even if she wasn't talking to the baby, it soothed the little girl, just her mom being in the
Right.
same
Right.
room. But the male, when the mom ignored him and didn't speak to him or touch him or say anything, he still was frantic and crying, which
Wow.
just lets you know that males really
Need it.
need that
Yeah.
emotional support, that connection, that love. It's very important for our boys. Yep. And we need more mentors. I think that even if you can't be a foster parent, you might want to sign up. You can also sign up to be a mentor, I think, through Belfair JCB as well. They have a mentor program where you would get a kid and you may just take them out to the movies or in the community or do fun things with them and talk to them. So they have that as well where you can be a mentor. So you don't necessarily have to foster, you can also be a mentor.
Now, kind of explain to people like, as far as the system, some parents get paid for adopting or
So
foster.
if you go, if you so there's two different types. There's kinship and there's fostering and then there's adoption. I think that for like a period of time when you adopt, you do get an adoption subsidy
Mhm.
for a period of time, but I don't think it's that much.
Much,
I
right?
think that when you foster parent, you are given a fostership,
Mhm.
foster parents get paid to a certain extent. And then there's kinship caregivers who sometimes they can make a decision whether they get, child only benefits through
Mhm.
TANF or which is a cash assistance through
Mhm.
Job and Family Services, or they sometimes will get a kinship caregiver stipend through, the county or through, an
Agencies.
agency. It says, my mother did foster care after she raised all eight of us and then raised grandkids. I followed in her footsteps, did foster care, and then adopted my two and was the board chair for Children Community Access Programs.
Wow.
Thank you for the work that you do, Stacy. We appreciate you. Our community appreciates you. We thank you for your hard work.
Like, I just want to go back. We had said about these boys. We really need to grab these boys for
Mhm.
real. It's something like just out of control. Just I don't know. We just gotta pray for our boys.
We do.
Just pray for them.
Yes. Somebody said, Hardy, today we keep siblings together. We recruit foster adoptive parents that will take siblings. It is more traumatizing to be separated from your siblings. I think that's very true. It is more traumatizing, especially if you grow up in the home with your siblings. It still keeps that sense of family, even if you are in a situation where you are not placed with you can't be with your parents, to have that sense of belonging with your siblings and not be the only one going through the process of being in a foster home is really important.
Hey, Miss Hunter.
Thank you, Miss Hunter. Ohio Mentor is another place that you can also be
Oh
a part
wow.
of a mentorship program. Yep, and Belfair has a mentoring program
Wow.
absolutely
That's
as
wow.
well. Nope, they don't pay a lot. It's not paid, so that's why you got to have a heart for it.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, you got to have a heart for it. So. All right, y'all. I don't know what just happened, but we back. So, I want to put that number back up again. So, for if you are interested in being a foster or adoptive parent, call that number 216-320-8463.
Do you think there's an age for is there an age where a person shouldn't adopt? You think?
I don't. I know people who have been adopted at 18 just so they wanted to be adopted because
No,
they
I'm talking
just
about far as a parent. Like you think of a person that's
I
60 or
don't.
70
If you have if you have
adopting.
your faculty, it's a lot of older people that adopt 60, 75 years old. I think that if you can give your wisdom, your love, and you have enough to give, I don't think it should be an age limit. Like if you have the capability of caring for a child, then I think that you want to do it and you have the heart to do it. I think that you should because
Good
it's
point.
just
Yeah.
something that we really need in
Right.
our community.
Mhm.
There's so many kids that need permanency. Yep, and I think and it is a good thing. Now we try to keep siblings together.
Yes.
We try to keep family units together,
Mhm.
and I think that is really awesome
Mhm.
thing that we do and something that we implement. So I think that's a great thing.
It really
This
is.
has been a great show.
It was. I mean, I'm
This was
just
a great show. We were able to get a lot of great information out there.
a
See,
lot of feedback.
see
I
what
mean,
you share your story
I
do.
know, right?
Do for our community. I
Uh,
thank you for your transparency today. You know,
yeah.
we are it's different when you know asking questions and you talking about different topics, but it takes a lot more to be vulnerable and share your own experiences, you know. It's a lot.
I would have never imagined that the response we got today. I
Yeah.
just didn't. I'm just gonna be honest. I thought this would be a regular show and people, but we got information. We got people sharing their stories, and
Yes.
it's. I think to me, it's probably one of the better shows. I'll be
Yeah,
honest with
this
you.
was a good
It
show.
was a really good show. So
Yeah, very
kudos to everybody that
Woody said
chimed in.
wholesome and thought provoking.
Mhm.
Thank you, Woody. We definitely
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thanks, Woody.
We
Appreciate you.
definitely appreciate it. Oh, yes. Thank you. Stacy says, thank you for sharing.
Uh, you're welcome.
Yes. Thank you so much, Denise. Thank you,
Yeah.
Stacy. Thank you for everybody that tuned in. We really appreciate you. We know y'all could be watching
There's some
Thursday night
football.
football.
It still ain't too late.
It still ain't too late, but we appreciate y'all, being here with us and, just sharing this very important topic. And I hope that somebody people took away some really good information that
We
they will
gave a lot of good
share.
information.
Yeah,
Too.
and we thank you. Thank you for your
Yeah.
transparency,
Miss
Hardy.
White.
We appreciate it. And this was a great show.
Yes, I just can't
Yes.
get over
And
it.
I hope and Miss Griffin, I hope that you get some hits. I hope some people contact you that would like to be a foster parent. If you know anybody that you think would be a great foster parent and they have told you like this is something that they may want to do, please contact Miss Griffin, get with her, and then come back on the show and let us know how it's
Right.
going.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button.
Yes, please,
Tell
please,
somebody.
please. Tell somebody, share, and share this information. You can share it at any time. We keep it up on YouTube. You can share it on YouTube. You can also go on Facebook. Follow Hardy Entertainment, and also follow Juicy Talk. Hit the notification button so you know when we're having a show. And we thank y'all.
But we got some other shows. That's
Yeah,
just
we got some. This was a wholesome and thought
it
provoking show, but
was.
we got some
Woo,
deep
some
some
headbangers
deep
coming up.
headbangers coming too. So
So we
so
want make sure
we like to talk
please.
about everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
This was kind of like up to what we talked about child support. Remember we talked about that.
Yeah.
And man, it's
Yeah,
just,
yeah. It's up there with the child support
yeah, it
show.
was.
Yeah.
It was.
Definitely. So
Yeah.
thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, everybody, for coming on. We
Remember,
appreciate
every
appreciate y'all.
Thursday, 8 o'clock.
Every Thursday, 8
o'clock.
p.m. We
Yeah.
look forward to you guys. There is a foster kid in need of you. Absolutely. That is
Who said that?
That is Miss Griffin. She said
Oh,
there is
man.
a foster kid in
Oh,
need
that's
of you.
awesome.
Definitely.
That's
Thank you
nice.
so
Glad-
very much.
Oh,
And I'm going to post that
what?
information
I'm
as well
getting-
on my page.
I'm getting a little emotional.
You're getting emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get a
So
little
we thank
emotional.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Don't start crying now.
No.
Man up. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I'm just
Be
joking.
like Sterling.
So crazy. I can't, man. I can't.
We thank you guys.
We do.
We
Thank
really
you
do.
so
Thanks for
much.
calling in. Stay
Thank
blessed.
you. Thank you for
Stay
being
tuned
here.
too.
Stay tuned.
All right.
Stay tuned.
Be blessed.
Be blessed. This was dope.
It was a good show.